The nature of the cloud being an on-demand self-service resource means that consumers of these services need the administration facilities to be able to create those resources. And at multiple times already throughout the course, we've looked at the administration portal for Microsoft's Azure platform. Now, back in the module on cloud computing risks, I talked about compromise of administration facilities and the fact that if an attacker gets into that admin portal, they can do some serious damage. That can mean exfiltrating data, tampering with data, or spinning up expensive resources on behalf of the service owner. Protecting the portal is really essential. A fundamental first step for anyone who has any access to cloud administration portals is to strengthen the account that they're using to access that resource. So for example, when I work with Microsoft's Azure portal, I'm using my Microsoft account. Now, all the fundamentals of good account management apply here. In fact, they're extra important when we're talking about accessing administration portals. So things like having a strong, unique password that is not reused anywhere else and is not likely to be guessed. That pretty much goes without saying. But the other thing you want to make sure you're doing with any account that accesses a resource of this value is to turn on multi-step verification. So for example, for Microsoft, we can go to account.microsoft.com/privacy, and then we have a more security settings link. Now within this link, if I drop down one page, we have two-step verification. And as you can see here, my account is protected by two-step verification. This is an absolute no-brainer, and it should be done on any account of any value on any service, let alone the account that controls cloud resources such as my Microsoft account. You can do the same thing with Google and Amazon and all the other big providers protecting valuable stuff. And turning on two-step verification ensures that even if that strong, unique password is somehow compromised or obtained by an attacker, in and of itself, it can't get them access into the portal. So start here. It's the number one thing to do. The other thing we're going to do whilst we're talking about securing the portal is go and have a look at role-based access controls. Let's look at that now. In many of our information systems today, we have this concept of role-based access controls. So let's create roles that have access to certain resources or can perform certain tasks, and then we will place individual users in those roles. So for example, back here on my portal, I'm going to jump into that Hack Yourself First website again, and then within this resource, I can go over to the icon here that represents access controls. Let's drill down on that. And keep in mind that I'm looking at just one resource here, the Hack Yourself First website. But you can apply role-based access controls within Azure's portal at very different levels, all the way up at the subscription level, or down at the resource group level, or on individual resources themselves. So you can start to divide down those cloud resources into logical groups of people who control them, and then decide who should be able to do what within that collection of resources. So we've just drilled down into the users list of the Hack Yourself First website. Now at the moment, there is one access control, and that is simply that the subscription admins are in the owner role. Now we can go and have a look at the other roles that are available within the system, and they're very typical security constructs. Who owns the resource, who can contribute to it, read to it, and so on and so forth. Let's quickly close that blade though, and go back and have a look at what happens when you add a user. Now we can choose the role that we'd like that user to be in. So for example, we might decide that we would like to give someone reader access so that they can view everything but not make any changes. So for example, they might like to view the reports of how the infrastructure is performing, but they won't be able to modify anything. We'll choose reader. And now it's just simply a matter of adding users to that role. So I could have added another user into the portal and then dropped down here and simply added them to this role so that they can view the stats on how my infrastructure is performing. And role-based access controls really is that simple. The problem I see with many organizations that are using cloud is that they simply give everybody access to everything. And this is the whole point about ease of use. Yes, that does make things very simple. However, there's an obvious risk there that when anybody can do anything, you might well find that some people do actually do much more than what they should be doing. So role-based access controls are a fundamental step when giving anyone access to an administration portal like this. So that's a couple of quick tips on securing the administration portal, and both two-step verification and those access controls are explicit steps that you have to go through and do. They won't be configured out of the box. Let's now move on and have a look at hardening the configuration.